Welcome, welcome to all of you out there, astrology friends. Welcome to this reading about the eclipse. And on the thumbnail, I hope I'm gonna use it. On the thumbnail, isn't it lovely? Isn't it lovely? I went to Curacao, to the Caribbean, and I had a lovely, lovely holiday. Of course, I mean, it's not difficult to have a lovely holiday in a country like that. But anyway, it's a recommendation. If you ever think of, where should I go for having a holiday with a little bit of everything? Well, I recommend it. Anyways, matcha danki for all the Caribbean, Curaçaonian people out there. It was lovely, but let's get to business. Let's do the solar eclipse. And you can see how the solar eclipse is going to be on the 8th of April. Can't you? It's one in Aries, my favorite sign of the zodiac. All of them are my favorite signs, absolutely. But I do treasure that positivity of Aries and the enthusiasm and the childish enthusiasm, I must say. You know, it's so real, but childish, not in a bad way, in a more pleasant way. Like there's something to encounter, there's something to do, to pioneer, there's something to do that you've never done before. I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyways, and I'm bold and I'm going to go for it. That attitude is absolutely on the forefront of this eclipse. The solar eclipse is on the 8th of April at 19 degrees of Aries, so the sun and the moon together at 19 degrees of Aries. But it's not just that. There's a whole bunch of other planets in Aries. So we're going to have also Venus there, around at about 4 degrees. Then the North Node, very close to the new moon, which means it's a total solar eclipse. So it's also at 19 degrees. Then we also have Chiron at 19 degrees. The North Node is not at 19, almost there. And Chiron is at 19 degrees as well, you know, the wounded healer. There's a lot of healing going on. And healing about what? About our identity. That is what Aries is about, battling fire for your identity. So this is a lot going on around this time. And last but not least, Mercury is at 24 degrees of Aries. So you see, it's a traffic jam in that sign. And I'm going to have a look very quickly in what area of life for you that all that traffic jam is happening. So, but what is the flavor of it? What is the flavor of this eclipse? What is the meaning of this eclipse? What is going on here? And of course, I remind you of the fact that if you want to see this eclipse in a bigger picture, not on its own, that is, this video is just about the eclipse. But if you want to look broader, go to the April horoscopes that are already made. I include the eclipse there, but also a bunch of other stuff, which makes it more of a story, because it's really a story that's going on here. It's not just the eclipse that lives on itself. But I want to go a little bit deeper here with the eclipse and what this is all about. So yes, we know that every year around this time we have a new moon in Aries. That's not so special, but it is an eclipse because of the North Node being also in Aries. So we know that it's a double whammy here of a new beginning, an ending, of course, but also a new beginning. And an ending, the ending has, I even wore the color of red. Well, it's a bit orange, basically, but you know, I didn't have really red in my wardrobe. Anyway, and even the lipstick and anything is adjusted to the Aries fiery energy, because it's about life and it's about passion. It's about fire. It's about, you know, I see now all those, how do they call it? Those, you know, Francorchamps. What are they doing at Francorchamps? Write in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. But that was the image that I'm getting. What am I talking about? It's just a riddle, just a little riddle. And by the way, I read all your comments. I'm loving it. Absolutely. So People say that I'm a bit all over the place sometimes. You know what? I don't care. This is my channel. Look, this is Aries. I have my moon in Aries. I was born like that. You know, I do what I want, but you have to do the, and it's even included with Uranus and with Chiron. So I'm a lot, my character has a lot about this eclipse. And so, but it's in the heavens now, in the universe, you could say, that all of you who are watching this channel, who are watching this video, are invited. You have free will. You could say, of course, but you are invited to go with this lively, bold energy. And to do what? Well, to do something that you've never done before, to do something that you're scared of. But how to do it, I'll get back to that in a minute, because there's also something special to talk about that. But the thing is, use this bold energy. If you had another something, this is the energy that says like this. And but it has consequences, right? You know, if I'm saying to the ones who are commenting like, oh, you're all over the place, and if I would take that very seriously, or you know, and try to adjust, that would be Libra energy. But we all have to get rid of that. We all have to get rid of the people pleasing stuff and whatnot. That was the other eclipse on the 25th of March that we just had. Now it's about Aries, not by being an asshole, not by being selfish so that other people are suffering because you are doing your stuff. No, but being assertive. Healthy Aries energy is assertive. It's saying like, hey, if you don't like my channel, go to another one, right? Oh my goodness. It's that kind of stuff. And if you don't like, for instance, that I'm all over the place, and go to somewhere where someone is boring and not all over the place. It doesn't have it. You know, it seems like I'm taking this very serious, but I'm not. I'm definitely not. I'm laughing, actually. But this is Aries energy, doing it your own way, but also taking the consequence that these people might leave your channel, or you might lose something else instead. But is it really a loss? Exactly. You understand what I mean, don't you? You understand what I mean. It's not a loss. Not at all. But anyway, it's an alignment. What this eclipse is trying to do, it's trying to align us to our path that is very selfish, you could say, but it's actually the best for the whole. And of course, if you don't harm another person, if you don't, that's the whole thing. But and being selfish, I mean assertive, sometimes it's not easy to distinguish. But deep down inside, instinctively, because Aries is an instinct kind of energy, you know. For instance, you could say like, maybe you're having this in your fifth house, right? This eclipse, this is about children. Or maybe you're having this in your first house, Aries, right? With an Aries rising or an Aries sun. And then your fifth house is where, you know, it kind of represents your children. And your children could be really demanding towards you, and they demand and they take, you know, children are like that, right? Especially when they were small, you have to give. But maybe now it's like, you could say the universe says like, be a bit more selfish. And you would say, oh, but it's not good for my children. Yes, it is, you know, and they are a certain age. It's good that you say, no. Oh, making breakfast every day, today I'm not going to do that. You know, make your own breakfast, or you see what I mean? Depending on how old they are. But this is about, when you're doing this is a lot about, hey, I want to have a breakfast off day or a cooking off day, and you do your own thing. And actually you could say like, maybe the Libra side of you would say, oh no, don't do that, poor children. But no, it's good for them as well to be bold and to be an individual themselves. So this is a lot about individuality. This is about choosing your own way, but of course not in a selfish, narcissistic, you know, that you harm others, or you want to put others down so that you can go up. That's not what I'm talking about. Obviously, I'm talking about healthy selfishness, right? Healthy. So now is the time to do it. You're not always going to have eclipses like this. We're not always going to have these energies that go with us in favor for us. where we want to go for like a warrior, right? It's the Aries energy is represented like the warrior. It fights for something. It's kind of raw. It's the soldier, right? It's really, really devoted as well. And so all of this energy is about healing as well. The Chiron there shows that we all have wounds around identity. Don't we have that, right? We all have wounds around identity. I'm using the example in Curaçao. We were lost somewhere with our car. And, there are supermarkets that are very familiar to the supermarkets in Europe. You have a Carrefour, you have Centrum, and you have all those. We were looking for where we would do some groceries. But we ended up, because by driving, this is a story, by the way, bear with me, because this is about this Aries energy and this identity energy so strongly. So we we saw a grocery store, and it was quite big, but it was another name. I forgot the name. Someone who knows what I'm talking about. It was more like, I don't know what the name was. It is a well-known supermarket, but it's for the people, for the Curaçao people, you could say. And we said yes, because we were hungry as crazy. And in the other supermarkets, it was like, the same prices as in Europe, you could say, as in Belgium, in my country. So, but we didn't care. We were so hungry. So we get into that supermarket store, and immediately, me and my partner, we definitely said like, whoa, it's a different vibe here. It was full of people, very crowded, all Curaçaonian people, not one white, redheaded, definitely not a redheaded, but not one European person there. And the prices were ridiculously low. And we were looked at and stared at, not in an unfriendly way, not at all. Just like, what the heck are you doing here? And I was getting actually a little bit angry because, and that's the Aries energy that I react. I have my moon in Aries. So how I react is moon in Aries. So I was like, hey, I know I have a different color. My hair is red. I know there is a history of the Dutch history of colonial, the Dutch, they had a colonial history with Curaçao. But I'm Belgian. I've got nothing to do with all that stuff there. And I was taking it like, hey, but I have an identity as well, and I can do grocery stores here as well. It was that kind of thing. And I was with a smile, and I smiled to everyone, and they smiled back to me, because I spoke their language. I mean, a couple of words. I always do that. It makes a whole different, if you're going to a different country, speak the language and people will see you in a different light. So I spoke the language and the vibe turned. But in the beginning, it was a bit, I'm not going to say hostile, but it was like, what the heck are you doing here? What the heck are you doing here? Right? And it turned around because I adjusted. I spoke the language and I was very friendly. And I got friendly eyes back. But I was a bit angry at the same time and assertive, like, hey, I can do groceries here as well, right? I mean, I'm here with a good heart, and I'm not doing any disadvantage whatsoever. And that is Aries. And that is because of that attitude I had. I was even talking to a person who said to me, you know what, at times at noon you can have lunch here as well, and it's very good and interesting to eat and whatnot. So, but use this energy to stand your ground, to say, hey, I take place here. And that's so Aries, like it's entering a room, and even if it's full of people that are different from you, of course, respect them, but don't take it if they like kind of disrespect you. You just take, it's energy. You just take your part. You are respectfully taking your energy, and you are allowed for that. You are allowed. It doesn't matter if you are dark skinned, redhead, white. Oh my goodness me, it's just, we're all the same. I mean, on a level of being, not on the level of form, of course. One is studying a little bit more, another is a doctor, another person is a farmer, but at the level of being, they are the same. We are human beings. And this is so important, you know, whether you're having this Aries energy in the 10th house of work, for instance, maybe you will have to stand your ground and take that energy, because it's like, hey, I'm here, I exist. Not like, again, in a selfish way, like a child would do, and, or an older person who is very selfish and narcissistic. That's not what I'm talking about, but in a very healthy way, I exist and I may take place. This is the wound, by the way, of Chiron in Aries, and that we are healing here. All of us in a particular area with the solar eclipse, we are healing our, the wound that we have of not being able to take a place, to take place. I can't talk English anymore. It shows, I haven't been talking English for almost like a week now, and it shows. Anyway, so take that place, and but in a very, very good way, in a very authentic way, in an honest way. These are all words that go well with Aries. So where is it that you find that, hey, this is my place? It's in relationships as well. Sometimes we are so giving and giving and giving, and that is not going to work with this eclipse. Or maybe you are taking or taking or taking. I mean, they're going to react in a different way with this eclipse. So this is all about existence. This is about, I'm worth it to take a certain place in the world, wherever you live, whether it is in Belgium, where I live, whether it is in Curacao, whether it is in San Francisco, Miami, or Australia, or even in India, or even in Switzerland, whatnot. It's take your place. You're allowed. And that is, but you have to go through that pain of, how would I say? Yeah, you have to go through the pain and not kind of adjust too much, because then you go into the Libra energy. I think I made my point. Anyways, of course, this beautiful eclipse that we're having in Aries is ruled by Mars. That was what I wanted to stress as well. This Mars, so where is Mars is important to look at as well. And Mars is in Pisces, and Mars is with Saturn. It's about to bump into Saturn just before the eclipse, or just a couple of days after the eclipse. Mars bumps into Saturn. You already feel it during the eclipse. Mars conjunct Saturn is, so this shows that if we have this eclipse here of Aries, of identity, of I want to be bold, I want to start something, that's also Aries. And the Saros cycle is 8 North. So this 8 North Saros cycle is, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I leave in the box a video clip about that, about the Saros cycle. But it's about genius insights. It's about vision, ideas. The eclipse has a flavor of that, of you getting ideas. And all that energy there, which is ruled by Mars, and Mars is with Saturn, that means that we all have to be very careful with our actions. We all have, if we want to get there, to the vision, to the newness, to the new opportunity in our lives, which we are all getting, that energy, we will have to be Mars-Saturn-like, act like a Mars-Saturn person. What is a Mars-Saturn person? It's not moving too fast. Like Mars would definitely like to go bold and go for, no, it's about being slowly but surely. Plan your actions, Mars-Saturn. It's a bit like a Mars in Capricorn. Plan your actions. Not shortcuts, not at all. Do things slowly and think before you do. And Pisces is with compassion. Do something with compassion. I think that the way that I just described in the example of how I dealt with that supermarket, it's very Mars Saturn. It's like you stand your ground, you act slow, you're not gonna have a fight, you're just gonna control your actions, but you're gonna do them anyway. Mars Saturn is always, when I think of Mars Saturn in a positive way, it's the surgeon, It's a surgeon. Let's say you're doing your nose operation because you have sinusite, or how do you call that? I once had an operation like that, and I asked the birthday of the doctor, and he had Mars Saturn. I said, no problem, you'll be fine. And it was in Capricorn, I think. So it was a very good Mars and a very good Saturn. I said, go for it. And he was asking, like, did you have this? And he asked all couple of questions. He did a huge preparation before he did the operation. That's Mars Saturn. So in order for us to do something authentic, something real, something that is very close to our honest soul connection kind of thing, in order to do this, we will have to do it in a Mars Saturn kind of way, which is slow, which is prepare yourself, make a plan, exclude all the risks, right? Are you having heart diseases? No, okay, check. What are you taking? Are you on medication for other stuff? No, okay, check. So you have to, before you do that operation, you have to do all those things so that you exclude as many risks as you can. This is the Mars Saturn. So it's a very fiery energy, but in the way how to get there, and it's good to start. It's good to start and to have the idea. But in order to get there, it's actually doing it in the opposite way, which is slow and which is step by step. So what an interesting energy this eclipse is. And this Mars Saturn, of course, it's a cycle, a 2-year cycle that you are starting here. So I'm going to look at where this Mars Saturn is as well with this when I'm doing the 12 signs. So do it with focus. Master your desires, Mars. Master your control them, because otherwise Mars Saturn in a bad way, read the news, exactly. Mars Saturn is it's frustrating energy, it's really it can be very, very used for every energy is neutral. I mean, a Mars Saturn person can be a surgeon and can be good, doing good stuff to people, cutting out stuff that is not good in the body or whatever. But a Mars Saturn person can be a bully as well, depending on the consciousness of the person, right? So let's use it for something good. Let's use it for our lives to do something really, really focused so that we can get where we want, and we take accountability for it. Right? We take accountability for it. That's Aries. You take accountability for it, and you know that if you're going that way, you're going to have some reaction. If you're going to be bold, you're going to have reaction. If you're going to say, hey, I'm going to start astrology, I'm not going to do my old 9-to-5 job anymore, you're going to have reaction of people, reaction of probably the closest to you. So you have to be courageous, you have to feel safe, and make sure that you feel safe and that you have some purpose. Jupiter-Uranus is also approaching. Jupiter is approaching Uranus in the sky as well during this eclipse in Taurus. So this is all about purpose and authenticity, but feeling grounded and feeling secure. And if you, by cutting actually things off that are no longer suiting you. So let's have a look at where this boldness is and where we need to be very careful. I'm going to do this very quick because it's no use to do for the 12 signs very big predictions or whatnot, or describing of energies, because I already did that in the April horoscope. Aries, the whole video is about you. I just talked about the examples and so on. Like I have, for instance, my moon in Aries. But this is particularly the case if someone has a rising sign of Aries. To a lesser extent the moon, to a lesser extent the sun. But if you've got the planets there around 19 degrees, oh boy. If you have a birthday around the 8th of April, oh boy, you're going to have a total new beginning. So for you, it's your whole life. Where do you take the lead? And where do you need to be very careful? It's a bit odd here because this Mars Saturn is in your 12th house. It's the 12th house. Saturn has its joy there. So that means that finding structure in a place where there's no structure, because the 12th house is your unconscious. So it's about cutting out old habits that are no longer good for you, but that are driving you on an unconscious level. So ask people your blind spots. If you're truthfully wanting to go forwards in life, ask people that you know that have a neutral, critical understanding of life. And ask them, where is my blind spot? And work on that, because you've got that energy to work on it. Taurus, this whole new vibe, this whole new energy is in your 12th house. This is the house of the unconscious. So there's a lot happening for you behind the scenes. There's a lot that you need to battle that actually are not your battles. That's basically it. That are the battles of your ancestors, that are the battles of other people, that are bad habits, right? Bad habits because of unconscious feelings. This is now the time to tackle it for sure. And with this Mars Saturn in your 11th house, it's about having new goals, but you're doing this step by step. And it's also about your friends. You know, some friends could be a bit bossy toward you. If that is the case, know why that is. Why is it that you are not taking the lead? And so don't let yourself go being bullied by a friend or something, but take the lead yourself in a friendship. Initiate yourself slowly but surely in a friendship. So, but first and foremost, it's about battling your own demons that you don't know that you have them, which is the blind spots. They are going to come to light, whatever it's going to be. So you can tackle them. Geminis, all this beautiful energy in your 11th house. I love it. So do a new goal, prepare yourself for something new, a new goal that you have, a new network that you want to launch yourself, a new friendship, a new person that comes into your life that's going to be very beneficial for you, because the 11th house is the people that are like-minded. So it's a lot about your future. Be bold and be very, very real. What is the goal and the direction that you want to go? And to get that, you have Mars Saturn in the 10th house of work. So it's about the work that you need to be very slowly but surely. There could be a bully at work, that could literally be your boss, but how to handle him or her, do that in a very, very particular way, just like I described in the beginning of the video, the introduction. Watch that if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's but also about taking the lead yourself when it comes to work and being responsible and accountable, and taking responsibilities for sure. On another level, it could be a parent. It could be a parent that the connection with it demands a lot of effort. And you take it slow and you go from there. Cancerians, what an opportunity for you to, especially the Cancerians who are fed up with their work, who are feeling that the work that they do is soul-wrecking. Here is your chance. Well, your chance, you have to take it, of course, but it's energy. There is a whole new vibe here available for you to start a new job, to start a new work, or a new project, something that you've never done before and that you're a bit scared of. Go for it. How to do it? It's connected to the 9th house, because this Mars and Saturn, where you need to focus on, is in the 9th house. So it's either about travel, about writing or teaching, or you learning a new skill. Maybe you have to implement a certain job, you have to have some diplomas, or you have to do something. Do it. It's a 2-year cycle where you can learn a lot, or either you teach others, or you kind of Mars Saturn is also about your mindset. So there needs to be a more disciplined mindset, whatever that means for you. That could mean that your mindset that is more positive, but that you're working hard on it to get positive, anything like that. On another level, this is your parents or one of your parents. That could be a new phase in their life as well. Leos, this is for you amazing because you are a fellow fire sign. So all of this fire is happening in your 9th house and where the new beginning falls. So for some of you, this is a new study. This is you teaching, or you are learning something. Traveling, a very important travel that you want to do that is going to be very important for the rest of your life, you could say. This could also be because Venus is here as well. Meeting, if you're single, for instance, you could meet a new love because Venus is in your 9th house, someone who's from abroad or has connections there or a different background. And the Mars Saturn is in the 8th house. So this is about shared resources. This is about intimacy as well. Do it very cautiously with little steps surely, but slowly but surely. So when it comes to money that you share with another person, this is about really doing this with a lot of accountability, with a lot of responsibility, but also with, watch the intro, because I explained there an example with the Mars-Saturn energy, how to apply it. It's risk averse. So try to do the things with as less risk as you can and being very focused on that money. Maybe you have to do something different when it comes to money that you share with another person. On another level, this could mean that you are spending a lot of time on the studying the occult, whatever it is for you, tarot, astrology, anything that is metaphysical. That's also or psychological. Mars Saturn, it's cutting through the psychological fears that you have. So you could be very fearful of something. And but it's imaginative. It's the 8th house, and so cut out the risks, right? If you're fearful of traveling because, for instance, you fear, I don't know, what could you fear? Maybe that you're going to crash in a plane. Well, calculate that. Can I go by car, for instance? You know, these things, but doing it anyways. That is this, and examining. Why? What is this fear coming from? David Hawkins is very good to examine because he always says, you know, and what, and so what, and so what. But anyway, look it up. It's very good and it's very applicable for you. Virgos, wow, this is huge because it's a very transformational house that this eclipse is falling in. So there could be the 8th house is represented by death and rebirth. So these themes could come up during this time with this eclipse: death and rebirth, shared resources. There could also be a new way of you sharing your money with another person or a business partner, starting something new here, and so on, because Mars and Saturn is in the 7th house of relationships. So, but if you're doing that, do that in a very slowly but surely kind of energy, because you're having Mars Saturn in the 7th. That's not an easy energy to have with partners. It's like partners that are very demanding. And by partners, I mean business partners, clients, and also romantic partners. They could be very demanding. If you're single and you're meeting someone, it's going to be a Mars Saturn person. At its best, it's a person that is very skilled at a certain level, that is very martial, but also very Saturn. It, on a negative way, it's someone who's very critical and controlling. So, but the way to deal with this is to understand them from their perspective, for sure, not to battle them in a 1, 2, 3, but at the same time being very real and authentic and very assertive. So, But to reach that goal of the 8th house, so for some of you, it will have to do with inheritances or with loans or with returns on investments and so on. For others, it will more have to do with a deep psychological understanding. And for others, it could have to do with intimacy as well, right? The 8th house is the house of trust. It's the house of you opening up to a special person. And opening up not only naked, literally, but also emotionally. So being vulnerable. And again, this Mars-Saturn in the 7th house, it's about doing this in a cautious way and doing this in a very interesting way. Libras, a lot of the beginning is so applicable for you, especially when you have planets around 19 degrees of Libra. You're going to feel this a lot, and you're going to feel that certainly the Librans who are single, this is a new person for sure, and with a lot of light, and with a lot of, you are going to be very, you could say, focusing on dealing with love in a new way. So the more you did the work of the negative side of Libra, which is the people pleasing, the more you did that work, the better you're going to have this new attraction towards people where there is better balance between the give and the take, for sure. And how to reach that? By Mars-Saturn in the 6th house. Discipline. By having discipline towards yourself, towards your respect, towards your body, towards eating 3 meals a day, for instance, or doing some exercises, or sleeping enough, not watching Netflix all night. All these things, it's about control in the daily routines of your life. And that's gonna indirectly help you with having better balance in relationships as well. So definitely new information. If you are all in relationships, if you are in a relationship, this could mean, and when it's going really, really bad, and you shifted that energy of, I'm not going to people please anymore, I'm going to stand my ground, this could be the end of a relationship for sure. But only if you want that, and secondly, if this is a very bad toxic relationship, so you know it. But and this could be also possible. Scorpios, this is your 6th house. So there is new fiery energy in that 6th house. There's a new beginning. Could be that's lifestyle. You could be wanting a totally new lifestyle. Like, yeah, I want to be healthier. I want to have more energy. I want to have a better job. This is all 6th house. I want to be out of debt. I want to really have a life that on a daily basis gives me a lot of passion, a lot of energy. And how to do this? Mars-Saturn in your 5th house. It's like controlling your desires and the things that you love to do them, but with temperance, you could say. Like Mars and Saturn in the 5th, but it's in Pisces, so that goes very well with your energy. It's a lot about being very active on a very creative level, on an individual level, on how you love the things that you love, but doing them with some sort of a structure, you could say. Also with children, it could mean that you are going to be more structured and disciplined towards a child, or a child could be a bit more of a challenge for you. But whatever it is, if you're dealing with it, like I said in the introduction in the beginning, that is going to be the best success for you. And it's going to have a knock-on effect in maybe a new job or a new pet as well. The 6th house is a house of pets as well. Sagittarians, you're one of the lucky ones, because especially if you have planets between 19 degrees of Sagittarius, it's going to trine all that energy of Aries. But actually, because Aries is so occupied in your 5th house with planets everywhere, so almost every Sagittarius is going to feel it, right? If you are a Sagittarian at the beginning of the degrees, you're going to feel that lovely Venus transit. if you are a bit more towards the end, you're really going to feel that Mercury transit, so good communications coming up. And in the middle, or the end, you could say, of Sagittarius, it's this new beginning. The fifth house is a lovely house. It's the house of play. It's the house of your heart. So there is something new here. That could be a new baby that you're planning, a new project that you're planning, a new hobby that you're planning, and of course, Mercury goes backwards and forwards there on the 2nd of April up until the 26th of April. So you could be really doing something that you are wanting to do, that you've always wanted to do, or even started when you were a kid. So hobbies and the things that you love to do them. But of course, there's going to be a fear involved here. Because the ruler of it, Mars, is with Saturn in your 4th house. So that means probably that if you want to do that, the 5th house, whatever it is for you, a new project, a new hobby, a new whatever, love as well. That could mean a new romance coming in. And Mars Saturn is in your 4th house, which is your emotional security, which is literally your home. So it could mean, for instance, that you will have to do a move because you just met someone. This is not just on the 8th of April, of course. This is a lot of months from now that it could be the story that is unfolding. So work hard on the home. If you want to sell and buy and all of that, do it very slowly. And you could have some restrictions, but the restrictions mean that if you're going to do them, those rules, it's for the better in the long run. So think long term when it comes to your home. Also, your emotional well-being, your emotional feelings towards a parent or towards your own parenting, how you parent yourself. Do this in a very accountable way and responsibility way. So take your own accountability. Could also mean that you're working hard at home. Mars, Saturn. Capricorns, this is all happening in your 4th house. So there's a new beginning, an ending and a new beginning at the core of your horoscope, which can mean that figuratively you're dying and being reborn again, so to speak, because there's a lot of this energy that is you could see as a rebirth, as how you emotionally parent yourself. So that intro that I was talking about the existence is very, very true for you as well, because the Chiron there is about existing and it's about being secure. And it's only you, if you're an adult, it's you who are being your own best parent, basically. So there could be teams coming up here. A lot of you will move or sell the home, buy the home. Mercury is going backwards and forwards as well. So that could be a topic. But a lot of you, it will have to do with a new emotional setup, with a reacting that is going to be more responding. Right. And also novelty when it comes to how you see you on the deepest level of all. This is all ruled by Mars and this energy, and this is in your 3rd house. So Mars, Saturn in the 3rd can be tricky to watch your tongue. So watch what you say. And it could mean that people are a bit rude to you or cruel to you, especially siblings and neighbors. That could be giving you a little bit of a hard time. But know that don't react, respond in a very empathic way, but also in a very assertive way. And work on those connections. Work on your communication. Know what you say. You can only control your words. You're not able to control other people's words, not at all. But don't fall for, if they're super critic, don't take it too personal, that kind of stuff. Know where they are coming from, and energetically just do your thing and make sure that your communication is fine, that your communication is good, and say to yourself, I don't want to be like them. Right? So when there is a energy like that, in a positive way, the 3rd house, if you're having your own business, work hard on your website, work hard on the PR. You could do something new now. Studying something is also very, very interesting for the Capricorns. You could be starting to learn a skill, driving, knitting. It's something that is very practical, that will be able to make your life more comfortable and more practical in a way. Aquarians, all of this energy of new freshness is in your third house. So you could be making a new trip. That is very important for you, very healing for you. It's a trip that you've always wanted to do, but that you're a bit scared of. You could be studying something new, a new skill that you want to learn, and that is very. It could be something very practical, but very Aries-like, so that it demands a lot of courage to do it. Whether it is a workshop or a course of 3 months, do it. It could also mean a new energy when it comes to neighbors, siblings. So there's some new developments there. Could be connected to that as well. When you have your own business, for instance, this is amazing energy for a new website, a new way of doing promotion and whatnot. How to do it? Mars, Saturn in your second house. So be very economical in your expenses. Be very, very risk averse, so to speak, and hustle for the money. Mars, Saturn. Relook how you can do your finances to become more healthy and more secure in the long run, because you're having this Mars-Saturn cycle of securing your finances in the long run and taking some time there. It could also mean on a very totally different level that you're going to eat better, that you're going to be more critical, Saturn, towards what you eat. Maybe more spicy food, Mars in the second. I know it's weird, but these are things that are all connected to that area. And last but not least, Pisces. So you're having this whole bunch of energy in your second house, which is literally your resources, which is literally also your confidence. So there is a boost here. So you could be buying new stuff because you want to have a fresh new start. You could be having a new plan around finance. You could be having more income here, a new way of income, or a bunch of money coming in for you here because of this eclipse in your second house. And there is freshness involved. There is healing involved. There is an energy involved of maybe you've been in the past working hard for this to come. Right? It's like a whole new start on a financial level. And it depends, of course, what you did before, but it definitely shows that there's a new start in your confidence as well. So there could be a confidence boost here, to say the least. The energy, Mars-Saturn, is in your first house. So how to reach that point of new beginnings, of better financial wealth and better confidence, is by you. How you apply yourself with better boundaries, Mars, Saturn. How you apply yourself is every now and then to say no and finding it hard, but doing it anyways. It's asserting yourself in. Definitely watch the intro as well when I talk about the Mars, Saturn and how to do that. It's very applicable for you because this is in your first house. So this is about how you apply yourself to others. And you're doing this in a cautious way. You're dealing with others in a more cautious way, but at the same time, you want to go forward. So people are going to see you more like structured. Maybe some Pisceans are saying, me structured? Yes, there is a possibility here because of this Mars-Saturn energy. If you go with that energy, more structured, more together, you're getting your ducks in a row. This is Mars-Saturn. So do a lot of things for yourself now. Do a lot of things for yourself. Me, myself, and I. And if you're going to do that, all the rest of your horoscope is going, like children and house and work, it's going to benefit from that. So very interesting time for the Pisceans with this new cycle of Mars Saturn there in your first house for sure. Another thing is that your health. Mars Saturn can indicate that you have to be cautious with your health. If you're having like health problems or if you're having issues, Mars Saturn can mean not all of you, but it can mean the surgery. I remember when I had Mars Saturn in my first house, that I had a couple of, dental surgery stuff going on. Not everyone will have that, but if you're thinking about it, and if you're thinking about tackling a certain illness, this is good for you now. But it's going to take a long time with the Mars Saturn. So maybe not like me. The dental care was not one visit, but many. Anyway, it depends on a lot of stuff. This is specific, right? So if you want to know more about that, check it out. I should have said this in the beginning, but I'm having a promotion. Again, yes, with the eclipse, I'm doing a promotion of the 8th of April. It's a ridiculously low price for 15 minutes reading, a 15-minute reading that I'm giving on an audio recording. I am giving you your birth details and something that you want, that is on your mind, that is a bit challenging, and I will deliver that reading. It's on my website. I put a link below here for that promotion. It's very worthwhile. I did it for the other eclipse as well, and lots of people bought it, and I'm very grateful for that, and lots of people liked it, so I'm doing it again. And but this is of course only for the eclipse, right? So I'm gonna look, where does it fall, in what kind of house does it fall, does it aspect something else, right? Not particularly. Then I'm going to look for sure to the 19 degrees of Aries and the 19 degrees of Libra, 19 degrees of Cancer, 19 degrees of Capricorn. But is it also making trines? And I'm looking a bit at the whole of that eclipse in your chart and the interpretation of it. And of course, the advice. Anyway, having said that, keep on subscribing, keep on commenting, and thank you so much for all the warmth and the love that I'm getting from this channel, from making these videos. Bye bye.